Hey there, this is Mike Graham of the Way to You program for weight loss and personal development, and I wanted to say a few words today about experts with regard to weight loss, because everybody thinks that they're a bit of an expert with weight loss. When I was overweight by over 5 stone, everybody seemed to have an opinion on how I should lose weight. This is largely unsought advice, stuff I didn't really want to hear, that I didn't really have space to hear. But my God, you can find a few wacko theories when they do, and some of it is actually delivered in a not very pleasant way. But it's worth recounting some of those, because I was overweight. I wasn't actually very happy being overweight, and for sure I would have loved to have had an immediate solution. So I'll take one of these weight loss solutions that I was recommended. This was brought to me by 2 old biddies at a cricket game during the tea interval, and they saw me there and decided to home in on me, saying, well, we think you need to lose some weight, and of course here's how to do it. You should stop drinking fluids. What? I didn't actually exclaim like that. I looked a bit surprised. They said, well, your problem is water retention. You get rid of all your weight by just not drinking. Well, obviously one has to drink something, and water's a fairly essential thing to have in life. If you can get clean water, which in the West we're lucky enough to get, of course. So these 2 old women, they were convinced about their particular methodology, and they were talking to me about friends who'd done this. And then I went away and I thought about it, and I thought that was a real old wives' tale, wasn't it? I mean, the very essence of an old wives' tale, because this stuff is absolutely appalling. Dehydration's no good for us anyway, and if you stop drinking, you dehydrate. Further, over the long term, it can cause fairly serious health risks, which include getting bladder stones, kidney stones, and God knows what. So, to me, I was overweight, but that particular piece of advice got put on the scrap heap pretty much straight away. Then there was a set of shakes I tried, where you have a shake in the morning, another one at lunchtime, and then you have a meal in the evening. And, well, that was truly excellent. It went very well. I found myself sweating extremely strangely and unnaturally for virtually no reason at all, and feeling very faint, as one would. And I decided that this particular piece of advice was, well, pretty ghastly and shouldn't be taken too far. So after 3 days I jacked it in and thought, I'm better off being overweight, whatever that might do to my psyche, because to die at the altar of this sort of methodology would be a pain. And then later in life I was told about another thing, which was a supplementary capsule one took. Actually, it was green coffee. And I was given this advice twice by people who never had to lose weight in their lives, permanently thin. Yet this was given to me as the be-all and end-all. One of these people was quite rude about it. The other one wasn't so bad, but again, I thought, well, that's very kind, people. I really didn't need that. Now, there are all sorts of bits of advice floating around, and everybody thinks they've got an opinion, and because you're overweight, you're public territory. So I got enough remarks as well as the advice going around, and quite frankly, it was a little bit of a pain. And I did actually find a method to lose those 5 stone plus, and did it very effectively, thank you. But it was expert knowledge that got me there. It was a proper system devised by scientific understanding of what a body needs in order to lose weight safely, and not some cock and bull notion of this is the way to lose weight. there are certain prescribed methods to losing weight, which ensure that you're quite safe while you do it, and you can do it in a friendly, easy and pleasant way. And, so I got there. In the end, I weighed 11 stone 4 instead of 7 stone 1. So it's a great triumph in my life, really. And I was terribly grateful for it, as well as very enthusiastic about it. And over that time, I obviously learned what to do quite well because it worked, and developed an understanding of what was required, and I kept it off for a very long time. And what struck me was that this was proper nutrition. I'd been given a crash course in what the body needs nutritionally, so that I was balanced in what I ate. I was getting the right nutrients into my body for my health and losing the pounds. So, this is the way to do it. And whilst everybody is an expert, claims to be an expert on the subject of weight loss, there aren't that many programs which back that up, given the amount that there are. I mean, there are a number of programs, but some of them better than others. And I'll leave it at that point. In fact, one or two of them are definitely screwy. So, I put it to you that losing weight the expert way is better than following some cock and bull method or getting your advice from old wives who tell tales, because the first method works, the second and third methods don't, and can do you everlasting damage. And really, who wants to get sick while losing weight? I have elsewhere told the story of this person who lost weight at the same time by having radical surgery, and I think she got her stomach stapled or something. And a very short time afterwards, she died of internal hemorrhaging. So that's obviously not very expert, and certainly not worth dying for, even though she was drastically overweight. I've felt a bit sorry for her, because she was so proud when she'd had it done, and it was so disastrous for her. So anyway, following expert advice is actually worthwhile, and one should never forget that. I'm reminded of a work by Plato, the ancient Greek philosopher, on this subject through the mouthpiece of Socrates, and he talks about it, in his unwavering style of asking questions which people give answers to, like, if you wanted to learn mathematics, who would you go and see? Well, you go and see an expert on the subject. And who would you consider to be an expert on the subject of teaching mathematics? Well, a teacher of mathematics. And so it goes on. If you wanted to learn philosophy, who would you go and see? Well, you go and see an expert in philosophy. And would an expert in philosophy be somebody like a teacher of philosophy? Indeed. So if you wanted to learn philosophy, you go and see a teacher of philosophy, of course. And that was sort of the very famous Socratic dialectic, which some of you may have heard. And this understanding of expertise has lasted for 2,500 years, because it was regarded as the basic principle that people should apply. If you have a problem, go and see an expert about it. If you have a medical problem, go and see a doctor. If you have a legal problem, go and see a lawyer. Don't go and see somebody down at the pub called Colin, or one of your mates who comes round, If you want to drink, then you can go and see the publican and drink in a bar, but whereas probably you won't get more than a glass of water if you go and see the doctor. On the other hand, the medical advice does come with the backing of 7 years of learning, and plus quite a lot more of experience. So, that is the argument. Yet, there are those people who are willing to give advice for free, and I'm reminded of the modern populist politicians who claim that experts shouldn't be listened to. And it's a bit balmy, isn't it? It's a bit sad that humanity has to a degree bought into this, because it rarely doesn't work. And again, I emphasize, if you have a problem, ask an expert for advice. And weight loss, more than anything almost, has been prone to people who aren't experts offering their five penn'orth. So I have a program called the Way to You program. I am an expert in weight loss simply because I understand it and I've done it, and I've read up on the subject further, and I know these things work. So if you have a weight problem, give this a go, and I'll put a link down there, because the Way to You program is based on scientific expertise. Thank you very much for listening, and have a good rest of day. Bye for now.